Hello and welcome back to Rescue Us. We're talking again about the same show we've been talking about. Jen, what's going on?
So we are now in the last 7 episodes of season 3. The last episode, episode 6 of season 3, left us where they were potentially looking to poach a probie from a different ladder company, and then Johnny is still, doing things with
Banging
Janet.
and living with Janet and stealing his
Yeah.
brother's wife.
Yeah, and that situation throughout these next 7 episodes gets very sticky and tragic. But so we start off with episode 7, which is titled Satisfaction. If you remember from our last episode, we were talking about how Jerry had to take on a second job to help pay for the living cost of his wife's nursing home facility. And we were kind of wondering, if his crew were to find out, how would they react to it? So in this episode, Tommy and Franco are randomly at that bar where he is a bar boy at, and they see him, taking shit essentially from the bartender and then the bar owner.
Who apparently still hasn't paid him money he owes him for work.
No,
Which
yeah,
is insane.
How many weeks
That's
is
a
this?
month of work.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
like, what was it, like $400, I think he said?
$400.
Yeah. So our question was, what are the guys going to do? Are they going to razz him for it, or are they going to come together and help out? So they're talking, Tommy and Franco are talking to Chief Riley while at the bar, like, what's going on? Why are you working here? Yada, yada, yada. And the owner, is on his back, like, hey, get back to work, whatever. So
Not even on his back. They're straight, like, it starts off with the girl is straight up disrespecting him.
Yeah.
And then the owner disrespects him.
Mm-hmm.
All in front of the guys. I mean, Frank,
Yeah.
Didn't she say something like, this is why I don't like to work with old people?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did she say old or did she say geriatric? I don't remember.
She said, I think she says old people.
Oh, okay. I thought for some reason
Geriatric would have been so much better, though.
Yeah, I think so.
Agreed.
But so Tommy and Franco actually stick up for Jerry against
They're ready to
bar
throw
owner.
down.
Yeah, they're about to get to a fight. Yeah.
What they actually do to the owner's vehicle is pretty funny and just like instant karma to the bar owner. So Franco has a friend who works for like the city's towing company, and they find the bar owner's car and they actually lift it off of a crane, right?
It was
Crane?
the construction company.
Yeah, and it's just dangling from the bumper in the middle of a street, and Jerry's outside the bar waiting for the bar owner to come out. He's like, oh yeah, like, good luck finding your car or whatever, and he can't find it. Then he looks and he sees it hanging and he gets mad, which, I mean, you're a piece of shit. You kind of deserve that.
It kind of shows that Tommy is maturing in a way. I mean, he's an old man. He's not an old man. He's an older person. He's kind of maturing from his ways of being angry and violent, because they were gonna fight.
Yeah.
He was ready to.
And the bartender was like, or the bar owner was like, the last time somebody got in my face, he's like, they're fed through tubes now.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like trying to be this big fucking guy.
Yeah.
But I think they would have gotten the better of them for a little bit, but then got out laughing and shit.
Well, I mean, the problem is if they, like, let's say even if they beat the shit out of the bar owner,
You're still not going to get the $400. And,
it all looks bad on the firehouse too.
yeah, it'll probably be
Yeah.
the case. But it's to me, it's showing a little bit of Tommy's kind of growing in a way, trying to deal with shit other than violence. So they pull a prank instead, and they give the guy a chance to fucking pay the money.
I will
Mhm.
say he is getting less like
Volatile?
the confrontation element of Tommy is kind of gone down a little bit in this season. Almost like he's just tired, like there's like a certain point of like, all right, enough's enough. He's trying to go to meetings. He's maintaining that. I mean, even though I swear every other episode he's drinking, like voluntarily or not.
I think
Speaking of which,
I think there's only been one lap that he did on purpose.
yeah, or actually had that Sheila didn't induce.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, fucking Sheila. God damn it.
Alex, why is she called fucking Sheila?
So like near the end of this episode, she fucking okay. So she flips out in the last episode from the last episode that we were talking about, because she's the one that's actually being called and being made, told about Angie and him at the restaurant, making out,
Yep.
tit grab, ass grab, and all that shit. So it's not Janet or Johnny, so they're not getting the exes jealous. It's actually Sheila. So she freaks out and destroys everything in her house. And shows that she's fucking like really a psycho.
Just gone.
Dude, she starts stalking him.
And then she starts stalking him. Yes.
Yeah, following him. It's
And then she invites him over for dinner, and she fucking.
Well, no,
roofies.
it's she.
No.
she does the dinner at his house.
Yeah, she was
She-
just
yeah,
in
yeah.
his
Oh yeah,
house.
she just pops up in his
Yeah,
apartment
just
because
is making
she has
him
access
dinner.
to it. She's like, I sent your dad off to those so and so, and I sent Lou out,
Yep, with the
Yeah.
girls.
Mhm.
and she ends up
Which, by the way,
spiking
the date night with Uncle Lou is quite funny.
oh god.
But it's a fucking horror movie and then a shitty deli to which he's short on the bills, so they have to give him money.
He has to get the kids to pay them.
Mhm.
But she ends up roofing him and spiking his drink with roofie and Viagra at the same time,
And raping him.
and she takes advantage of him. Yeah, and then she what was it?
She manipulates the scene.
yeah,
Yeah,
she makes it
she
look like he
tears
had
the
a
house
blackout.
apart,
Yeah, like
Pours
he went on a
liquor
drunken
on him.
rampage.
Yeah.
like puts the bottle next to him. Like I was like, holy shit.
Dumps food on him. Like we've seen him get really drunk in a lot of these episodes. Never once did he have actually pour food on himself like
No.
he was taking a bath.
And you really
So,
feel
like, for her
bad
to
for
do
him
like that-
because in he feels bad, and you feel bad for him because it's like he didn't do anything. Like that was all her, but like he's like I don't know what happened. Like that's never happened, but you do feel bad for him, even though I'm sure. I mean, we all know he has done things like that,
Yeah.
but I don't think he's ever really done that in front of anybody. Those have always been like he's in his shithole apartment, angry that the kids have been kidnapped by by Janet. Like I don't think he's ever exposed anybody else to that behavior.
Right.
His anger usually came before the drinking. In most of
And
the
then was
stuff.
fueled by it and then continued
Yeah.
from it. Yeah, it was. And like I said, I don't think. I mean, he's had some quote unquote violent scenes with Janet, but I don't think he's had any of those where it's I'm drunk, baseball batting everything around me type thing.
No,
Mhm.
no, he's tossed her around a bit, but he's never.
But she fucking
gone, like,
deserves
ape
to be
shit.
put through a goddamn wall, in my opinion.
Oh my god, her and
Both her and
Yeah.
Sheila, same
Yeah.
bridge, you know? If you float, you're not a
and-
witch, or you're a witch.
just after that, Tommy is actually with his cousin Mickey, and Mickey's explaining, it happens to everybody. But the like, I felt even worse for Tommy because the look on his face through that whole scene is like, like fuck, I was doing good though. Like I was.
Well, even Mickey's
Really
soft on
trying.
him in that
Mhm.
scene. Like, even Mickey's all about trying to boost him up. Like he wasn't even mad at that point. So you
managed
could
to
tell.
drink 23 hours a day of thinking to drink versus 24 like everybody else.
Yeah, and like, and that's the whole thing. He's
Because-
trying to build up the fact that like you're doing well with your sobriety, and we all fuck up, and at the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Then unfortunately, Mickey goes right back to being fucking Mickey.
Mhm.
His character, priest or not, does not fucking change.
Yeah, there is one good thing, I guess you would say, bad thing out of this, that he does get with Angie, and it's actually like a fun. It's not a toxic part. It was started from toxicity of the wives and the husband, but it actually just became like something fun, and then it ended up going to shit later.
Went right back into toxicity.
Yeah,
And the crazy part
Yeah.
about that is when Angie realizes it.
Yeah, she
Mhm.
catches on quick.
And she then she gets into it, and then once Janet kind of like that kind of final confrontation of it all, when they're at the policeman's ball, and Janet's basically like, I looked up to you, like you got the fuck out of this, and here you are.
Now you're right back in it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that's when she's like, all right, fuck this, I'm out. Like,
Yeah, she has some self-realization that, what she's doing should not be doing. But
She's gone down to the Gavin level.
yeah,
basically.
yeah. But so she ends up coming over to Tommy's place one night, and she's trying to get him aroused because in the past with Angie, he has not been able to completely satisfy her. So they're fooling around on the couch because Tommy, he's still having issues with sleeping in the bedroom that he shared
You don't know
with
that though.
Yes, at the time you don't know that, but he's been sleeping on the couch. So he's fooling around with Angie on the couch, and then Angie tries to move into the bedroom to try and get him erect. And that's a funny word to say, sorry. But so Tommy's trying to get her to come out of the bedroom. He doesn't want to have anything to do with having sex with her in that room. And that's when you kind of see that, he clearly still does love Janet, which I think that he always will.
She promptly calls him out for it too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then out of nowhere, Janet just walks in,
What did she say? Hey, stud, or something like that, or hey.
yeah. Yeah, and that's a whole nother
Which is just awkward coming from her. Like I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
It was also fun to hear the lies that he's like, oh, she came here to pick up some stuff that she left. And then she's
sometimes she leaves stuff here.
Flash.
Yeah.
She like flashes and she goes,
Yeah.
a dress. She came to pick up a dress.
I will say though, she did have a better choice of lingerie.
She did, yeah. That
more
last one
fitting
was
for her
really
body.
weird.
When this episode started out, I think they showed a clip of her first time coming in with the jacket, and she had like no hips for whatever she was wearing in that last one, and this one actually looks like it fit her better.
So these sorts of scenes is why I say she's the most villainous fucking character in the show, bro. Like, you're literally fucking his brother and living with his brother, and you're coming over to his apartment to fuck him. The apartment that you shared with him because you were technically still legally married. Like, she's Sheila, crazy bitch. But Janet's evil. She's poison. She knows exactly what she's doing, too, is the fucking problem.
Yeah, she
The
does.
one part of that scene that actually was pretty funny was when Angie was going to leave, her little Italian ex-boyfriend was just like waiting outside of Tommy's
Kicking your
apartment.
ass.
Yeah. And then he actually like decks Tommy, and Tommy falls
Kicks
to
him.
the ground. Yeah.
Kicks
he
him in the
was
fucking
barefoot.
face.
He was
He was
barefoot.
barefoot. Why the fuck was he barefoot? Also, how does he know where Tommy lives? Like, is he
And then
He follows
following?
Angie around.
He
Yeah,
leaves
follows
barefoot
Angie.
too, which is even weirder.
It's like, what the
Yeah,
fuck?
walking around New York barefoot. Weird. He's wearing a suit to it, isn't he? Like he's wearing a suit.
He's always
Yeah.
got
In a
very
business suit.
fine Italian clothing on.
Yeah. Oh,
He
gosh.
knows
my
kung
God.
fu. He knows kung fu. She
Okay.
kept telling Tommy.
So I know we all still hate Sheila, but I have a vote. I'm gonna say, Janet, Sheila tied for first, and the woman, the Jamaican woman,
Oh.
Oh
At the home.
man.
she is second place for fucking villain in this second half of this
Yeah.
season.
Well, I would say by the end of this, my stuff has changed though. But it is Sheila. It is I can't. Starts with a V, but it's the lady that you were just talking about, and then
Yeah.
it's like Janet somewhere in there.
So basically Lou starts to get a romantic-ish engagement with this the nursing home help that kind of tells him like
Hello, Jerry.
Jerry.
Yeah.
That you need to kind of like live your life. Like she even tells him like she's forgotten about you.
She was pretty rough about it at first.
Maybe it's
Yeah.
time you forget about her.
But
a
she
little
is
bit.
giving him truths though, like he needs
I
to
do
hear.
understand where she's coming from. Like even in the beginning of Jerry's wife's episodes, she completely forgot about him. She kept calling him her
Bud.
brother.
His brother,
Her
yeah,
brother.
Bud.
His brother, yeah. So she the nurse basically tells him, you need to live your life, not try and live in her shadow.
Yep.
Trying to
Which
be
is true.
remembered. Yeah.
And it starts off very nice. Like I actually really like the character.
Mm-hmm.
It evolves to where they eventually, he asks Tommy, "Hey, I'm older. I'm this younger woman. Anything you got? You got anything for me?" And Tommy ends up getting him Viagra. And his storyline essentially for the season ends with him and the Jamaican lady, Mecca Love, the Whoopi, and he has a fucking heart attack, and she doesn't even call the ambulance for him.
Oh,
Because
nope.
she's
illegal.
undocumented.
Because she's undocumented.
She's getting
yeah.
paid under the table.
She just takes the fuck off. Doesn't even bring the motherfucker a phone. Like, you could have just brought him a phone, dialed it, and then threw it on the ground.
Yeah, at least put 911 and walk away.
Yeah, if they would
And
have,
he's laying there for
face down.
probably a good 12 hours, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he got really lucky. Like, that's why I freaked out. I was like, God,
Dude, I thought they were going to kill him off.
damn
yeah.
it. Yeah.
I did too.
Like, I was like, God damn it. And at the same time that's happening, so that we're to tell this story, we have to jump between another story. Tommy and his brother, his second youngest brother, throughout
Which,
the
Jen and I were
second half
talking
of this
about
season.
They don't talk about the youngest ever again, besides that one episode he was in.
Yeah.
Like, why?
Which is really weird.
And we'll talk more about that in a moment. Go on.
They throughout this episodes up until episode 11, you get both of them trying to reach out to each other without trying to reach out to each other. They leave each other messages. They don't really talk.
Kind of like
I think
that "fuck you, but I still love you" sort of thing.
Yeah, his younger brother visits him one time at the firehouse, and that's to tell him that Janet is pregnant. And because Janet has been sleeping with both Tommy and
Johnny.
I can't remember the younger brother's name.
Johnny.
Which Johnny doesn't know either.
Johnny doesn't know about.
Yeah, Johnny doesn't know.
Tommy.
Obviously Tommy and Janet don't know who's the child belongs to, and Johnny thinks it's his. So he tells him, and there's another moment where Tommy pulls to the back of the fire truck and kind of has that pull in moment again.
Yeah, like fuck.
Yeah. And I honestly thought he was going to go off, but he doesn't.
No.
Yeah.
He kind of
which speaks to what Matt was saying earlier. He's kind of calming down.
I just wonder though, is he, or is he just suppressing it until it explodes?
That's what I'm wondering
suppressing it.
Like, at what point does Tom and Gavin go off again?
But Tommy, like, he was literally saved from that conversation by a call that they had to go out.
Yeah.
on.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it was getting real tense and awkward.
Which speaks to, I'm glad you bring that up, Jen, because that speaks to how passionate he is about that job. No matter what's going on, everything stops.
Mhm.
I'd argue it's okay. So yeah, I agree. He's passionate, but I'd argue in those moments, it's a less of a passion thing and more of a scapegoat. Tommy,
I can see that
even
too, yeah.
even before the show, throughout his life with Janet, with the kids and everything, I think he used the job as his, like, I got a job, I got to work.
Yeah.
You know, I think and I think that's part of his problem with his family relationships now, is he used to use the job as a, well, I got to go to work. You know, what do you want me to do? I got to work to support us. Meanwhile, he was also, for him, work isn't work. And I think we can agree on that. For most of the time he's working, he's not working. Like, you know, he's not going to a 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing, he's doing the only job Tommy Gavin can fucking do.
Yeah.
So, like, I do understand a little bit from Janet's side of, like, where that anger comes from, of, like, bullshit. Like, you were with your real family, ignoring your real, you know, you were with that family, ignoring your blood family.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I do understand Janet a little bit, but she's still such a fucking snake. It reminds me a lot of the relationship in, if you've ever watched it, Justified. Between Raylan, the girl, I can't remember her name, and Boyd.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's very much that same thing where it's just like, you're poison. Like, plain and simple. Especially when you start thinking about what she's allowing the daughter to start doing.
Oh God, yeah. So in that exchange, a couple things happen. Tommy is, well, Proby, Mike, saves a firefighter.
Yeah,
like
badass
saves
Mike.
his damn life. Yeah. And Tommy is visiting the firefighter throughout that period. And then Crazy Sheila comes up again. I have all this whole conversation about I have all this money, I can take care of you.
$3.1 million.
Yeah.
And
she buys him a new vehicle.
Which is where part of that feeling bad for her comes from.
Mm-hmm.
Part of that, like, I think she's correct? No, she's vile. But he did leave her hanging. Like, should she have gone and bought the fucking house? No.
No.
Well,
but
he starts becoming his sugar mama without him knowing after she roofies him.
And then then he starts to play into it. And then he starts to kind of like become this, like, and that's where once again part of me feels bad.
She bought him an Escalade and it got stolen within the first like couple hours.
Yeah.
The first 2 hours, yeah.
Yeah.
After he parks it in front.
I do find it funny how he's just like, this thing's got so much room in it. Like he's just like oh, he smells it. He smells the. She's like, you smell that? And he's like, it's like, the fuck?
Still has the paper. It still has the paper on the floor.
Yeah, the goddamn grease paper.
And then while she's talking to him, he starts rolling up the window. He's like, "Yeah, I gotta go," and he rolls up the window and he just fucking drives off.
Yeah, you do get the kind of feeling of that's what it was in high school too. You know what I mean? Like she was younger, he was a cool kid with the car, and it was like, and it's sad. That's why I feel bad for her. Like but then again, she does what she fucking does.
But she told the story about when they were 12, about how she met him and Jimmy together, and she knew that she was going to marry Jimmy from the beginning. And it took her like a couple of years to finally get him. And she goes, "But I finally got him." So like she was telling the story about how she manipulated her way into Jimmy too.
And she said, I think 15. She was 15 when they got together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's like 3 years it took her to get to 3 to 4 years. But it shows that she was still kind of like always scheming back then too.
Yeah.
So when she says something like that, it's like I still doesn't change nothing for me about what I think of her.
Like I said, I have moments of feeling bad for her. It's not a continuous thing. It really is like the moment at the end, towards the end of their storyline. The last episode where they're having dinner, and he tells her no. I feel bad for her at that moment. Like in that moment, it's kind of like, you let her on. You talked about like, if we were to do this, it would definitely be this house. You told her you were leaving, because he did tell her he was leaving the firehouse. And it's just like, I feel bad in that moment when he basically isn't even man enough to actually fucking say it. Like she's got to pull it out of him. I did feel bad for her right there.
But she was showing right there that she was like, as soon as he said like I didn't put my papers in, like she didn't even give him a chance to say like this is why I did it and why she didn't listen to him. He may have eventually came around and said, all right, I'll stay anyway. But she just was like, fucking switch flipped that quick.
I don't agree with her switch. I do agree her switch flipped. However, no, it's Tommy Gavin. There is no come around eventually. Let's be real here. I don't think it's fair to give him that much slack and her none. He really did lead her on, and then should she have bought the house? No. But he did lead her on to the situation. He told her he was leaving. Like, he didn't help the cause at all.
And I feel like he did that because he felt his firehouse was falling apart.
Which goes to the whole point of who's the real family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As soon as the firehouse family is going to be fractured, oh shit, I got to start thinking about my real world. But then you find out that, you hilariously find out Lou's not a boatman. Lou's not a goddamn dock man.
First of all, Lou gets cleaned up in this show, but I do love the drunk Lou when he's taking out Tommy's kids. Fucking hilarious.
The horror movie. Oh, this is great. She'll be fine. She's eating fucking popcorn.
Yeah.
The little shitty diner.
And even he cringes at one point too.
Yeah, he goes, ooh, and he looks away. Like,
pulling out like hairs in his food. He's like, this is like top dollar food. The kids don't want to be there.
Ashtray meatball sandwich. Jesus.
At least he doesn't eat it. Then he's like, yeah, go ahead and knock yourself out. Tommy
eats it.
Yeah, it doesn't tell Tommy. The other thing I kind of like too was when he had an epiphany, and then he meets Epiphany.
Yes.
At the yoga studio.
Yeah, the hot yoga.
Yeah.
Do you guys? Well, we haven't talked about his current girlfriend yet. Do you guys think that at some point, besides like the newspaper, that the girl who robbed him is going to come back and play like in the show at all?
I feel
There's got to be something else.
I can't remember forward, but I feel like she is.
I feel like there's got to be more to like he still hasn't gotten any resolution from it. Like he had his epiphany, but like I don't feel like that. You know what I mean? Like he hasn't had closure on that.
Right.
Yeah, I imagine she steps in a bit.
I hope so, and I hope he rips him up.
So the one funny scene in the hot yoga studio is when he's on his back, sweating his ass off. The instructor comes up to try and help him with this form. He's complaining about the heat. And then she pushes on him, and out of nowhere, he just rips ass right in her face. And at first, it doesn't stink. And she's just trying to be like, oh, it's okay. You know, it happens. Whatever. It's just your muscles loosening up.
The gas is rearranging themselves.
And then she catches wind of it. And she just has this look on her face like, you nasty motherfucker.
Well, she gets it. She's like, and like,
Yeah.
it's like she's out of there. She's
And then she
done.
just walks away. Yeah.
Next position.
But-
Yeah.
Some beer and cheese farts.
But what's funny though is that he goes home, and then later on you see him in his room, you know, trying to do a meditation pose with candles around. Then he keeps hearing distractions outside of his bedroom, and he gets pissed off and trying to seeing him struggle trying to get up, and then like
From
not
his
to knock over
knees
the candle. Yeah, not to knock over the candles, blowing the candles out before he even like gets up and leaves the room. It is nice to see Lou like trying to better himself finally.
It's also funny
And-
to see it with bunk beds behind him.
Yeah.
Yes. And I
This is in
do
that
think
room.
that this life change for him has a lot to do with his girlfriend that he has been seeing, who Matt was mentioning earlier that we were talking about. She was a nun, but she's leaving the convent and going straight, I guess. I don't know what you would call it after
That's
you
the funny
leave.
thing though, because Tommy bumps into her as she's in the bathroom getting ready to go, and then he goes to Lou and he's just like, hey man, she's really good in there, and he's like, I know, and he's like, now leave me to my beauty sleep. And then when he finds out she's a nun, it just the Catholic in him completely is just like no. Like he doesn't want anything to fucking do. He doesn't want to talk about it. Doesn't want to meet her.
He
Which is even
has
funnier
trouble sitting
because-
down at dinner with
Yeah.
them too. Like he's making up excuses. Oh, I've got an important phone call.
Yeah,
With
just
all the
doesn't want to
demons.
be
On the
there.
water and
With all the demons and rules Tommy has and about family.
Just
and
one
this
rule.
is the
You don't have
one
sex with
thing.
nuns.
Mhm.
Just one
Which her
rule.
name
Just
is
one.
Teresa, by the way. There's also Sister Teresa. There's like
Mhm.
Oh God, yeah. His whole it's almost like a vampire to a cross. He's just like no. Like he just cannot have it.
Oh my god.
um,
There is one awesome, not awesome, but it's very telling storyline where Tommy loses his vehicle. He's running all over town trying to find it. He gets in the argument with the taxi driver about the
religion.
virgins. Oh my god.
70, you're gonna have 77 virgins. 72.
You're not gonna get
And
him.
he's like, instead of virgins, why don't you have whores? And he's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, at least they know what they're doing. And he's like,
There's no whores in heaven.
Just completely like just missing the
Yeah.
whole point.
and then he starts arguing about like how hell is better because it has all these other people that heaven doesn't have.
His rock stars. Yeah, everything
like,
goes.
oh my
Everything just
God.
equates to rock stars. It's
That's-
always like no
that's-
Mick Jagger.
That's funny though, because he commandeers his cabbie. He tells the cabbie move over, and he takes his cab to go chase his car that was stolen. Told him he's gonna pay him X amount of dollars if he just lets him do this.
Which I do feel bad about the car getting stolen too.
I
That
know, I
sucks.
know. And he ends up at Janet's house. And they're talking about the kid. And Janet, this is the one time I feel sorry for Janet. When she's like, I need to have this kid because we're missing a kid in our lives.
There's
And
2 times in this episode or this season for me.
this is the only time. This is the only time I feel bad for her. And he's like, and they're both like, if it's a boy, it's great. And you can tell they want a boy,
Mhm.
you know, and they're trying to fill that void. And, you know, my wife was actually watching with me. She was jumping in and out. And she's like, that's so harsh. And I was like, not really. I mean, you have to understand, they just lost a son. The father, well, Tommy's father, keeps berating them both, like, who's going to carry on the lineage?
Which, by the
lots
way,
of the
it's time to
Gavins.
push him down a goddamn flight of stairs.
I know.
Mhm.
I'm kind of tired of the old man. Like, there would have been a point, if that was my father, would have been like, you're pissing yourself, you're useless, shut the fuck up. Like,
Yeah,
enough out of
he's-
you, shut the fuck up. You fucking old drunk. Shut it. Because it's just
But at
enough.
this point, yeah, it's bad. But Tommy gets in it with Janet, who I think this is the first time I've ever seen her like really like pound back at him.
Is this when she grabs his dick?
Yes.
Yeah. I know. And then Johnny comes in, saves the day, and ironically,
No,
Tommy
not
doesn't.
really. No, I don't want to agree
Because
with saves
Steven-
the day.
Because
Because
Steven
Tommy
agrees
and
with Tommy that
Janet-
it wasn't.
He breaks it up.
Like,
He breaks it up. But-
Johnny thought that Tommy was hurting her though.
which he wasn't. He was just restraining her because she started
Mhm.
fucking hitting him.
Yeah.
Like, so, like, once again, she's the goddamn villain. She's who drew that line between those brothers after already doing, who fucking took that hammer into the crack that she's already made? How do you, what is more villainous than now having them fight each other? Because you got violent with him and he restrained you. He's a fucking villain. I don't feel bad for her in that at all. Fuck her completely. You don't deserve a child, you wretched woman.
Which brings me to when Johnny's beating up on Tommy in this scene, Tommy doesn't fight back.
No,
At
because
all.
I think he understands that no matter what, you can't, because it looks like what it looks like.
Mhm.
So like there is no fighting because you're not justified in his, you can't be justified in Johnny's eyes because of what he walked into. So I think that's a big part of it. He even says like it wasn't what it looked like. Like that's really all he says about it.
I think it's also a little bit of the back and forth that Johnny and Tommy have been trying to have
Almost like too many
as
battles.
up to this. Yeah, like up to this point. Like, you know, there's a sense you can see it in both of them. And it's really hilarious how Tommy comes back and he's like, do you guys have bus fare? Or like,
Well, and then
$20.
even Johnny's like, I'm tapped. You got anything to Janet? Like the Gavins are bums. And I'm gonna fast forward to the end before we talk about what happens. The voicemail, and I think a big reason why Tommy didn't fight back is because that voicemail. The I'm really sorry for what I did to you. Like I think Tommy felt. I mean, to be fair, he gave him a world-class shit beating. I mean, he fucked him up. So I think Tommy truly felt bad for doing that damage to Johnny. I think I think that weighed heavily.
He's
on
talking to
him.
you, Google.
Damn
it.
Damn, see what you did? FBI agents are now swarming your
I
house.
know. But to rewind, there's a scene where Tommy gets to a bar and he asks for I think it was $25 shot, and he's like, I want 8 fingers. And the guy's like, what does that mean? And he shows him
Glass.
The
$100,
most expensive, yeah.
and he drinks it, and then he says, you know, the guy's like, I'm gonna throw you out. And he's
No, he
like,
tells
because he
him- he
can't
tells
pay
him-
for it.
You're drinking that pretty fast for such an expensive glass. He's like, yeah,
Because
I
I
only
don't
got
have
like
any-
$4
yeah.
and something cents in my chain, you know.
You would too.
But then he goes on to this is a telling scene. He goes on to talk about
He's
like,
actually honest about everything.
He
Yeah, like-
unloads everything.
Well, no. So he's not 100% honest. He starts off by using the fake scars that he didn't get from fires. Remember? Him and Franco
Yes,
talked
yes.
about these scars they have and how they weren't from actual fires. Then, like but he uses real stories for those scars, and then he starts going in deeper into the yeah. Go on. I just wanted to say at first he pulls the thing he does to get women. And tell
it's
you,
true. Yeah,
'cause-
he gets them with that.
yeah.
But then he pulls into some of the real stories, and some of it is true. Like, you know, can one of you name a firefighter?
Right.
yeah,
You know,
would-
I got
yeah,
all this
yeah.
shit going on in my life. I'm in there, I'm in burning buildings, you're all out here enjoying a beer. And it's crazy because after that, the bartender's like, let me pour you another one.
Gives him the bottle.
And
And then
here's
gives
the
him
bottle. Yeah, like
And I mean,
And then the girl that comes up to him, he's like, you don't want to. This is a whole lot of
yeah.
messed
I
up.
like
Coke
I like
and
bad
shit.
boys, and it's like I'm a whole lot better than you can handle. He's probably fucking right because it's not bad in a good way. It's not like doesn't listen to the rules. It's serious alcohol dependency, several kids, several relationships. Like it's way more than you think, lady.
Which leads to the telling scene the real telling scene I'm talking about. He calls Mickey, his cousin, who's his sponsor. And Mickey shows up and fucking tears him a new one. I mean, really tears him a new one.
Rightfully
and the
so.
look on Tommy's face as an alcoholic who clearly knows he fucked up was frightening.
It was
He
like a kid. It was like
Yeah.
like Dad, you went out when you shouldn't have.
Yeah.
You got in trouble, and Dad's coming to pick you up. Yeah, it was very much.
He tries to make up an excuse of why he went there, and he's like, yeah, it doesn't fucking matter.
To honor the fallen.
Yeah.
And Mickey even tells, it's a great way to honor them, huh? And it's like, he's right. He's fucking right.
Yep. He even tries. He's like, "You want a drink here?" And he sticks a bottle in his face.
That's
and
his
Tommy's
bottle
like,
that he
nah.
He ends up slamming it on the ground.
Yeah, and I
do
think that
like
snapped
Mickey.
Tommy out of it, but that was rough. It was really rough.
Well, it also shows that he was allowing himself to kind of sink into his misery. Like that's Tommy allowing himself to pity himself. I think is the problem, is where it's like everybody pity me. I deserve this drink, and that's I think the bigger realm of what alcoholism is. There's everybody makes up the reasons for why they deserve their vices. I think it's that sort of thing. Now we've danced around it. Let's talk about it, because there isn't. I mean. We've talked about Jerry. Lou, we talked about basically Lou, he starts to pull out, and then by the end of the season, he's got his shit more or less together. Except for
Lou
fucking
again.
a nun. Well, soon to be civilian, in 2 weeks she's leaving the sisterhood. But right now he's fucking a nun.
Yeah, he
We haven't
technically
talked
is.
about Teddy yet. Uncle Teddy.
And the baloney pony.
So, I mean, here's the thing. Uncle Teddy's situation hasn't changed much. How has it changed, Jen?
He is now married to what was the
Ellie?
term that they used for her though? Because she liked to hop on inmates that were on death row, or I don't remember
I
the
can't
term.
remember, but he's married to her, and they get their
But he's
hour-long
married to
conjugal
her
visits,
now,
and
and they
essentially a big,
yeah.
like it's like when you go to a shitty camp. That's really what the room looks like. It's what I mean.
But before we go to the conjugal visit scenes, their ceremony is actually pretty funny because his best man is an inmate who he has an altercation with at the
No, I thought it was
wedding.
her witness.
Yeah, it's the one who's giving.
Is
her
it a
away.
witness?
It's a witness.
Okay.
Shovel
who-
killer?
Yeah, the witness.
Yeah,
with the
yeah.
shovel.
What's his name? Snake.
Yeah. So he's not able to kiss his new bride or whatever. So as they're being pulled apart, he's like, just show me a little ass, show me a little ass. And she lifts her skirt, shows him some ass, whatever. So fast forward to their first conjugal visit, and things are going great for Uncle Teddy. He's getting it on for the first time in
He's
months.
got fried chicken.
He's got fried chicken. But when you have a conjugal visit, you have to answer the phone that's in the room. What was it? Every 10 or 20 minutes
I think
they
it's
kept
15 minutes.
they
20
kept
minutes.
calling
10
him.
minutes.
to make sure that he did not kill her or escape. So it's really throwing him off his game, and he's getting pissed off about it. And then, she's just, going along with everything, and he's just getting more and more enraged each time the phone rings. And then as time goes on with their conjugal visits, she starts losing interest in the room because it's so drab and dreary. And
She starts wanting an
Not invited.
actual love instead of just
yeah,
banging.
yeah.
He doesn't ask her about her day. Like it's
No,
it's
no.
yeah,
weird.
it's just strictly sex for him, which that I don't know what else to say about that whole situation though. Like I feel bad for Uncle Teddy because that's his 1 hour that he
Yeah.
gets to do his
it-
thing with her.
Is it
and
1 hour a week or 1 hour a month?
1 hour a month.
1 hour? Oh god, wait,
It's
was
once
it-
a month.
So he meets up with her at least what 3 times during this.
Yeah, this is a few months span.
Okay.
Yeah, because I believe it was one conjugal visit once a month.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know how bad I feel bad for Teddy though, because like, I mean, the moment he was in fucking prison, he felt like a rock star.
Yeah,
Like,
Like, he's been
he was
enjoying
happy.
his fucking time. The only reason he's got some of these hookups is because the guard's dirty.
Yeah.
At one point, he does find out. He's like, there are people rooting for you because you killed a drunk driver who killed a kid.
But then this is why I don't feel bad for Teddy, right? He tells the guard, get those fucking people to fight for me now because I want to get out of here so I don't have to deal with the wife. Because he assumes as soon as she's gone, or as soon as he's out of prison, she's gone. And now he wants to get out all of a sudden so he doesn't have to deal with the wife. Because he thought it was going to be a simple, once a month I get to bang and then I don't have to deal with your relationship stuff. He's a dirtbag too. Fucking all the Gavins are fucking dirtbags.
They all like to take advantage of the situation if it ever pops up.
One more story real quick to get to, because there is a crux to this whole thing, this whole season. There's a big story. Mike, he's clearly suffering.
Oh yeah, we haven't talked about him at all, have we really?
Yeah,
Just
he's clearly suffering from like gay tendencies. He thinks he's like, I'm not gay, but he keeps hanging out with other men.
Well, not only that, but it's almost like he's trying to get other people to tell him he's gay. Like when he's talking to Mike and he's like, I'm not gay, but like I got my nail I went and got my nails done and I went to the spa and it felt great. I loved it. Exfoliated.
I got my butthole waxed.
Yeah, like it's like he needs somebody to tell him, okay, Mike, you're gay.
He asks Tommy for advice and he's going through and Tommy's like, well, Franco
he moisturizes
does face cream. It's good, yeah. And it's like, well, that's not bad. And he gets to the butt wax. He's like, okay, listen, dude. Like,
yeah, and it's that weird thing of like he's so confused.
He meets and this was really disturbing in this season for me. But he meets a brother and sister who don't have sexual relations with each other, but they play together in sexual relations with a third party.
That's not really true, though. No, is it?
I know it's
because they get to the point, don't they?
Yes, they do. They do. And Mike is laying there, she goes down on him, but then you find out that he's down there too. And Mike is like, "Hey guys, I don't think I'm gay anymore."
Not only that, but then they start to do stuff with like other, which is total weird. Like the whole thing's weird in general. But then
it's like when they asked him at the bar, he's like, "You're bi, right?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I'm looking at him like, I don't even think he knows what that word means.
No,
I don't think so either.
Probably not at all.
He's that big of a. He's like that dumb, like he's that dumb. Like it's just.
I have lots of relationships. I have relationships with my guys in the firehouse. I have relationships with people I meet on the street. It's that sort of stupid.
But I think I think the Proby explored sexuality with same-sex sexuality. And this is the theory I have, because he wasn't getting the respect in the firehouse. He wanted that, and he was getting it from his roommate.
His last relationship,
Guy Pearce.
Yeah,
the last
his roommate, Guy Pearce.
Wannabe. Guy Pearce is so much better looking. His last relationship with the big girl, though, the real one, fucked him up, I think, too.
Yeah.
Like, he hasn't had a good relationship since her.
Right.
And she wasn't a good relationship, but she set kind of that track record of having just shit after shit.
He also kind of has that girl now that's trying to help him, get away from, like, how did she say? I've swayed lots of guys away from being gay.
Yeah.
So like she's there is something there that she does.
Good for her too. She's putting in the work.
She is.
Well, God bless his soul.
The one thing that
talking about products, she brings them back. She's like, we're not done.
The one thing that frustrates me about Mike's character is I know that his firehouse gives him shit and they give him trouble, but there are moments where Tommy's like, no, you're not leaving, when they found out he wants to transfer. Like he's literally, we need you, you're not leaving.
Well, this is also like that, exactly. When he saves the guy,
when he saves somebody, everybody literally was like, yeah. They praised him. You can see the love.
Like how do you not feel that from these guys?
Exactly.
Like, at that point?
He doesn't make, even there's a point in here where they're standing in front of a mural. They're all coming clean to what happened with each of them, and you find out why some of them stay, and well, why the ones who were leaving stay. And Proby's like, I'm transferring, and they're like, no, you're not transferring. And he was like, yeah, you're right.
Sean continuously tells him that too. Like, you're not transferring. Like every time he brings it up, it's like, no, you're not.
And
I might.
They don't care what he wants to do in his own private life, but they're going to give him shit about it, and they're still uneasy about it. So, but they're still trying to find a way.
And that's another thing. When he came clean as technically gay, like, you know, to the firehouse, they gave him shit, but they didn't give him as much shit as I imagine he thought they were going to give him.
Yeah.
I think it was just building off the disrespect he felt he was getting from them.
But that's also because his roommate Chris was in his ear about it all the time.
Yeah.
Him,
that guy was definitely poison.
Yeah.
And their whole breakup thing is just weird. How, you know, it's they have the whole argument of like, well, I was with a girl. And then Proby like admits like, well, what about that other guy? You know, and finally throws that back in his face. It's such a weird thing. And then it goes right from like, well, if you're not out of here and whatever, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you. Or if I see you again, and it's like, the fuck kind of weirdo are you, bro?
Well, their final breakdown starts because he doesn't come home and he smells his fingers. He's like, you're with the girl.
Yeah, it's just like what the fuck? Like, I don't get the fuck out of there, whatever relationship this is. Dude's nuts. He's worse than Sheila probably, because he can actually beat the fuck out of you.
And that shows too that Proby is scared of him in that way. You know, he fights back with him, but he knows that guy's stronger than
he's
he
a bigger dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
He'll fuck him up.
So before we go to the main event in this half of the season, let's just talk briefly on Franco and Franco's situation.
Oh my God, yeah.
So Franco is seeing a lovely young lady who slightly resembles his daughter. And they are always meeting at his place. They're always there, you know, hanging out, having sex, whatever. Franco decides, like, you know, to talk to her about why they never go to her place.
Which is weird because he's on the other end of it for the first time, I think, ever.
Yes, yeah. So he's under the impression that she has another guy that she's intimate with or lives with. She does live with another guy. However, it is her brother who is mentally challenged. So the way that they make him seem has either autism or Asperger's, as well as Tourette's. So with the Tourette's, he says a big no-no word at any given time, which causes problems when they're out on the street in public. If you're wondering what that no-no word is, it's the hard R word. So he says it a few times when they're out on the street walking around, the three of them together. And Franco,
which is ballsy for FX at the time. I mean, this was
Yeah.
what,
Yeah.
06? Like, shit.
I was surprised they threw it out there. Yeah,
A lot,
I was like,
considering.
so Franco has to stand up for him and explain, you know, and the way that he says it, like they use the R word pretty freely when talking about what is her name? Franco's girlfriend.
What was that, Alex? I might cut.
Natalie,
yes.
So the R word is they call in this show, and at this time that was used quite frequently, but even the brother calls himself retarded.
Yeah.
And they use that word a lot. Basically, like, Franco tries to be soft with it, but I mean, the brother is known. There's actually quite a funny interaction between Mike and Garrity, and what is the brother's name?
Richie.
Richie. Yes, Richie.
Yeah.
Where Mike tells him all the things that's going on in his life, and he kind of is like, and then he goes, and they call me retarded. And even Garrity just busts out laughing at Mike.
Busts out laughing. But to Richard's point, like he got Proby, he put Proby in his place.
Oh, it was a fucking burn and a half.
It was great.
It really is one of those burns where you wish the whole house would have been in that room. Like, can you imagine if Tommy and them would have been in Lou? Oh shit.
Richie also has a problem too, where he eats anything.
Oh,
Yes.
Like checkers pieces.
Yeah, checker pieces.
That's actually that is a disorder, a mental disorder
Yeah.
of its own.
Yeah.
So I think he has layers of
Yeah.
Mhm.
issues.
Did
but
anybody
yeah.
notice? Did anybody notice the checkerboard when they started? There was a like he's got the black side, and there was one red piece, and there was a black side with a black piece. And then when they started playing, they were all normal again.
I didn't notice that. No.
Yeah,
Did
it was something really weird that happened as soon as they sat down.
Somebody in the production was like, "Oh shit, this is wrong."
Yeah, they
Like, on
fucking
that take,
switched
yeah.
it. But it's funny how he tells Franco, he's like, "You suck!" Like he starts laughing at him.
He tells him, "How about
'Cause-
you move for me?" Or he's like, "I don't know how to play." He's like, "I'll move for you."
Yeah, and then he ends up taking his piece. Oh, that was
But
great.
so, like, during that relationship with Franco and Natalie, Richie, it seems like he's getting a little, I don't want to say jealous, but like he's trying to stir up things in Natalie and Franco's relationship. But come to find out, Richie wants Natalie to like go off and do her own thing because
there's that initial conflict though, where Franco basically is like, you're trying to get in between.
yeah.
When he has him at the firehouse and he walks off right after the interaction with Sean and Mike, and he wanders off and goes back to the house.
They were supposed to keep an eye on him for him, yeah.
Yeah, and he knows exactly what he's doing too, and he gives Franco that kind of look, like, like I got you.
So he's actually a functioning, like he's probably able to function on his own. He just has certain things that go, different.
I think day to day maybe, but when you're talking about like handling money and life choice and shit like that, is where he's going to need the help.
Right, because he is actually very intelligent, and he shows it in how he manipulates Franco in these little areas, and basically Proby finally actually says something smart too, where he tells him, "Do you think maybe he just feels like you're trying to take his sister, the one person that is there for him?"
Yeah, well, that was after he escaped, and then Franco was telling the guys, and Proby does come out with probably the most on point assessment of what's up out of any of them.
He has two moments that he does something good in this whole end of the season.
Now, let me ask you something. I didn't think of this till now. Is that point of Proby doing that? Showing Proby maybe? Because we know he's kind of dumb. Are they trying to maybe say in some way Proby's on a spectrum? Or is it the fact that Proby doesn't think with his brain and he thinks with his heart? Like, I wonder the fact that they have Proby be the one that understands Richie potentially the most. Is that sort of like a nod to like, well, or, what is it you think? Is it anything? Is it just like a throwaway?
I don't know. I'm hoping
I think it's more of
a
heart thing with
Yeah,
Proby.
that's what I was going to say.
I don't think he thinks with his head much, unless he's in that. Like the only time I've really seen him click, and it makes sense because he's a firefighter, is when he's on the job, in the building, on a call. But other than that, yeah, he's kind of like not a real like. I feel like he's more of an open your mouth before. Did you think about what you said? And he's more of an open your mouth first kind of person.
Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely doesn't lead with his head.
Yeah, no, not at all. Not at all.
Before we get to the finale, any storylines we haven't talked about?
I would like to point out a little quip. I love how Sean in this story is trying to get with Tommy's sister, and they further their relationship by wanting to get married, and it's a whole roller coaster ride because Tommy's sister is like, "I want to fucking do it when I want to do it. We don't need a church. We don't need all this shit." And Sean is like, "Oh yeah." Sean is like, "No, we got to be married in a church. My parents need to be there." The whole interaction when they actually go to a church and talk to the priest, man, she just like lays into him about shit.
Well, not only that, but then like later on when they're talking, he's like, "Well, I found out we're banned from the church," and she's like, "We can find another church," and he's like, "No, all of the churches, we're banned from them all." Like, just like, jeez.
Any diocese around.
I love the little interactions between Tommy and Sean and Proby, because Tommy acknowledges Proby's like affection, like hugs.
Well, he has to because of this. When he was after the hockey game, Proby caught him in a moment of weakness.
But
And he
every
played it with like, I
time-
just don't want to see you go to like keep him.
every time Sean goes to hug Tommy, Tommy's like, "Get the fuck off me! What's wrong with you?"
Yeah, he just repels them. Like we're come on, bro. We're gonna have it's gonna be weird both having the same name. Or didn't he get the
he's
new
gonna take the
jacket?
Gavin
He
name.
decided to take his name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, he's like, I couldn't get that line, that weird line in between you. It would have been too long. Gavity,
He's another fucking dummy.
Yes.
And
there,
the porn. Oh, are you gonna? Is that what you're talking about? The porn collection?
no. I was gonna say something about the Stephen
Porn
Hawking,
police.
Okay, go ahead.
the guy in the wheelchair.
Oh yeah.
He's on the top floor, and they have to get him out, and he's like, oh, you got to check this out. He's like, he just types it in, and it says it for him. Like Sean's all fucking into it, and so is Pro.
They go to lift it. How the hell did you get this thing
He's
up
like,
here? Like,
can you get me the hell out of here? He's like, can you get me the hell out? Like he's like, rescue me, guys! What the fuck's going on? And they're like, they all start
he
laughing.
was kind of a dick, though.
Yeah.
Like I get the circumstances, but you're being kind of a dick guy.
When he's talking with Tommy on the thing, and he's like, "How you doing? You good?" He's like, "I think I just shit myself."
He's like, I shit
He's like,
myself.
"Oh, I'm sorry."
But that's how
And
I
he's
do
like,
it all the
"Yeah,
time."
That's how I do it. That was great. I love that one.
All right. So who wants to go into the depressing part of
All
this?
Wait, the porn police.
The porn
porn
police, yeah.
Also,
Yes.
the reefer. The
yes.
girl
yeah.
house.
The Reaper episode.
And they all get fucking
So
munchies.
the porn police is basic. They come through and they search the firehouse for porn. And the only real thing I care about in this whole scene is Jerry really fucking
Sticks
comes
up.
through for the boys.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, really just tells them, like, this is my firehouse. They're saving fucking people's lives. And if they want to come home and smoke and jerk off and, it's like, and they all give him a nice little clap. Like, it was one of those things where that scene, you kind of see Jerry maybe getting a little confidence back. He's getting his groove back a little bit. Because, frankly, the whole wife situation's really fucked him up for the past, season and a half? 2 seasons?
Yeah.
2 seasons? So he's
then-
kind of like sort of get his balls back a little.
And then he tells the boys, he's like, you guys really wouldn't be that stupid to hide all the porn. He opens the door, and it all comes falling out the fucking truck.
Which is very much like 80s, 90s comedy,
Yeah.
Like, kids,
Open the
did you
locker
clean
and
your
everything falls
room?
out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
What was the other thing you guys
The
wanted to talk
grow house.
about? The grow house.
Oh, Jesus. And everybody's getting it wrong. He's like, oh, shit, is that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar? He's like, Dad, is that Dennis Rodman?
No, man, you know what sounds good right now? Pizza. Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
pizza sounds great right now. Let's get a pizza.
And then Tommy's
They
like,
fucking order one.
he's like, when I talk about believing in God and everything, and he looks over to the side, there's the delivery guy with pizza, right? When they're talking about
Yep.
pizza.
Fucking
Oh my God.
Proby is asleep. He's got like a book in his hand in the back asleep. And he's like, what, are we getting more pizza? When they wake him up, like,
And they think that he's dead because he's just so lifeless.
Sean and Proby in the actual fucking grow house area, they're like falling over each other.
Giggling.
It very much did remind me of that scene from Cheech and Chong's Up in Smoke, when Stacy Keach is just like, I am high as shit, and they're all stoned. They had
Also,
the forms.
When Jerry tells him, hey, he's like, there's something wrong with your social security number here. He's like, what? He's like, what did I do wrong? He's like, you only wrote 6. He goes, I only put 6 numbers. He goes, no, just 6.
None of them can get the forms right either. They're all fucking them about. Like, nobody's getting them right. I do feel bad for Jerry in that, because Jerry's just like, Jesus, like he's got that look on his face, like a bunch of fucking stoned
He's the only
assholes.
sober one out of all
Yeah.
of them.
Because he doesn't go in. He doesn't go in. He just gets them to go.
Oh my God, I felt bad for Lou when he brings the guy out and he pulls his mask off and he just pours his fucking.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like, oh, Lou.
It's not a spittoon. And that thing was fucking wet.
Yeah, I was like, oh.
That's when when Proby gets his first big pull.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they send him all back in, so he has to put it back on. It's like,
Ooh.
Oh, it's disgusting.
So bad for him.
All right. We ready?
Yep.
No.
yeah.
The hard part.
So, as we all know, Johnny is a detective, and the episode opens with Johnny's with his partner. They're on a stakeout. And Johnny gets out, and they're talking about things, and he's kind of hanging out the window, and
Having a cigarette.
having a cigarette. Then because he won't let him. So Jen pointed this out. He won't let him smoke in the car. Johnny then hangs in the window, cigarette in the window of the car, smoking.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, he gets shot. What was it? 3 times?
3 times.
Yeah.
And he gets shot. You see the shadow figure run away, and they kind of do that rescue me thing, where they think that like they go into the hospital, and you think that he's being worked on, and then the sheet gets pulled over him.
Yeah.
So yes, after Johnny lets Tommy know that Janet's pregnant, that whole thing, they both tried to kind of, Johnny's tried to reach out. Johnny leaves him a voicemail. Tommy is trying to reach out, and unfortunately, Johnny does die.
The last conversation that Johnny has with his partner, they're arguing about who's better, Madonna or Cher.
Yeah.
Yeah, the important stuff.
Yeah.
And Johnny unfortunately dies, succumbs from his wounds, and it's kind of left with the wreckage. I mean, Tommy, to his credit, I feel, is there for Janet. When he goes there and tells her and she collapses, he's there.
Well, he has to. They left it. It sucks that they left it to that little montage. Tommy had to tell everybody.
Yeah.
Like he was the one who had to deliver all the information.
He called Maggie. He had to tell the old man in person.
You know what? Thank God for Lou, because Lou was there for him.
Yeah,
he went to each single place. He even went to the funeral home, helped him pick out everything,
the casket
set up arrangements.
By the way, the casket scene is so fucking true to life. And if you ever buried somebody, it's disgustingly true to life. It is nothing more than what in my catalog of numbers do you want? This is how much. It's terrible. It's fucking terrible.
And there were two scenes that really tore me to shreds. Like I started tearing, honestly. It's honestly when Tommy had to tell his father.
Yeah, that scene's rough. I do find it interesting though how the old man bounces back. He's got that like, Johnny always made me laugh. We're not going to have dark colors. We're not going to have blacks. You're going to wear like we're doing Sunday dress. That's what we're doing.
Only his police brethren can wear their colors.
Their blues.
And then he's like, we're going to need a lot more whiskey. I do find it interesting. I don't think Uncle's in the show ever again. The guy he's living with?
Red?
I don't think Red's ever in it. I looked at the IMDb.
Lou's uncle.
Yeah, he's only in 3 episodes of the show. So I don't think we're ever going to see him again, which sucks because I kind of like Red. But
I love his attitude.
Tommy and Lou tell him in person, and it's a rough scene. I mean, you're telling him another male of the Gavins is gone, and this is where I don't know what the fuck's up with that youngest brother, because he doesn't even come to the goddamn funeral.
Yeah.
Not only does he not come to the funeral, but you find out that they have another sister.
Gavin.
Yes,
so
a death sister.
I said this to Matt. So when one Gavin dies, they introduce another Gavin. So when we saw the loss of their mother die, that's when Maggie came in. Now when we see the loss of Johnny, we see this estranged sister come in.
Wait, was it the mother or was it Connor's death when Maggie came in? I feel like it was
the mother.
Are you sure?
Yeah, no, it was short. Or no, the stepmother. Sorry,
the stepbrother.
No, the stepmother.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Second
It was
wife of
the grandfather's wife.
Okay, after I was gonna say the original mother. I don't think anybody came back.
No, yeah, sorry. It was the stepmother.
I really do like the interaction with. Well, go on.
But didn't they get another Gavin, the other preacher Gavin?
With a half brother.
That's when yeah. So, but he's still the son of what's his name? But that I think he came up. Though. Yeah, he was there before when the mom passed away.
When the stepmother, Maggie came in around the same time, or was it Connor?
No, it was Maggie came in because the grandfather thought that his daughter was there for money.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. I do like the interaction between them at the funeral. How they all start signing each other.
And it's like Sean fucking knows sign language too.
Yeah, and they're like, "How do you know how to sign?" And it's like, "I like my grandmother very much." And they're like, yeah. That was a very funny because they're all signing at some point. It's also really cool to know where it's just like another layer of the fucking Gavins. It's like y'all know how to fucking sign.
Yeah,
like really?
I know. There's like all this dark hidden information. Like and nobody knew, like even
and they all seem to have a nice relationship with her, and there is the little interaction between her and the old man where he's like, "How do you say I'm sorry with your hands?" That whole scene made me kind of laugh. I was like, "What the fuck?" But I do like her coming in and you seeing them interact with another sibling, who they clearly like.
Yeah.
And then something else happens at that funeral, doesn't it, guys?
Maggie's craziness takes over.
Oh my God, Maggie. So Maggie, like it clicks. Like she's like, I want to marry Sean. So she runs over to the priest. She makes a deal for like $500.
What did Tommy pay you for?
What
did Tommy pay you for this whole thing? And he's like 300, and she's like, I'll double it, or I'll give you 500. He's like, okay, fuck it.
So
Fucking
they
corrupt
call
ass priests.
Even to make it even weirder, they call everybody back, and they start the ceremony.
To be fair, nobody but the police are in their blues, so everybody is dressed up and they're colorful and everything.
In the middle of the ceremony, this random guy's like, excuse me, you're standing on my mother's grave.
Then Maggie's like, take 10 paces to the side.
Can we hurry this along before somebody else comes?
The throwing of the bouquet.
Oh,
and then
God,
fucking
Jesus. Sheila
crazy goes and
runs
gets
off.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking Sheila.
Yes.
Oh,
Sheila.
and so that's not the end of the season though. Sadness is Johnny's dead, Janet's pregnant, Tommy's doing it. I think Tommy's the most reliable character right now. Like I understand where we started with Tommy, but he's the only one that like everyone's leaning on him. Fucking Lou leaned on him, Jerry leaned on him, the house is leaned on him, the boys, his family, everybody's fucking leaning on Tommy.
The voicemail that's left.
Yes.
Yeah.
There were 2 points with all that leaning that everybody's doing on Tommy, where when Sheila drugs him and he thinks he's relapsed, then he goes to the bar and he does relapse. And I think Matt's point to where the boiling over is starting to build up inside, because they haven't shown Tommy really been able to deal with everything that's happening because he's been so busy helping other people stay on their feet. So I think season 4, there's going to be an explosion with him.
Also at the funeral, all of the ghosts come to Tommy while he's there. Even his
including
boy
Connor, with his and he's with Jimmy.
And Jimmy gets down and whispers something to his ear, and then Connor walks off. So it's weird. Like he was taking like, you don't have to be here for this in a way.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. I think it's more like those ghosts. They're in Tommy's head. It's clearly Tommy's struggling, but I think it's an important piece because I think it's a point where Tommy finally gives himself a moment to breathe. Like, I lost my brother. Let me be here. And to see that the ghosts were like, they showed up. And then like when you said his cousin went over to his son, is like, hey, we don't need to be here right now. And they kind of stepped off.
Well, yeah, I think I would agree. I think I would agree more with Giovanni, where I think it's the ghost showing up or more or less trying to give him comfort. Like the ghosts show up for him to comfort him. And I'll agree. I think the whole thing is when Connor shows up and Jimmy's talking to him, I think it's more or less like, you don't need to be here, as in like, he's still grieving over you. Let's let him grieve over this one. I think that was the whole thing of like, they were there in his head, kind of being like, hey, we're here for you. And then because it's like, we need to go though. This isn't our funeral. He
does have a strange breakthrough with grieving in this one with his brother's death, where he's at the funeral home and he's talking to his brother, and he told him that he apologized to him. He left him a voicemail, and Janice like, you left him a voicemail. Like, did he get it?
That scene for me was
the other scene.
Where
that's
he's
the other
over
scene.
the
Johnny opens his eyes.
Yeah. That until then, when that happened, I was like, Jesus, fuck. But before that, the whole like, I'm sorry for what I did to you, and like that scene was to me the only harder scene to really get
because after that before that he was at home with Lou, and they were checking the voicemails, and they're just quiet doing everything.
Yeah, which was that was pretty haunting though.
And it plays 2 messages that Johnny left him, and where he's actually apologizing to him.
The crazy thing is when they do play Tommy's voicemail, which we'll get into, they are very reminiscent of a lot of like I just that's a lot of the voice from both of them. Because then the whole thing was Tommy missed that call. Johnny unfortunately had not listened to the voicemail he left, which was Tommy's version of him basically like, I'm really sorry. And here's another reason why I say Janet's goddamn poison. Tommy's like, I'm really sorry. I just love her. Man, I love her. And she's, he's like, I don't need to tell you, and it's that same sort of cadence that Johnny's voicemail had of just like, I know I fucked up, but I love her. And, it's got that basically the same message. And I hate Janet.
But Johnny's message says, I know she still loves you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you realize in their messages, they both admit to fucking up.
Yeah, and
Yes.
they're both
Yeah.
actually saying the same thing.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
basically the same message, and they, and then, as he's in the voicemail, because they're, it's all three of them are standing there listening to this voicemail. They get Johnny's personal effects and his cell phone's in it, and she hears that Tommy's saying how he still loves her, and that's all she fucking hears.
Yep. And there's 2 points.
No,
there's
he admits about how things were and why he should have.
Which he's done before to her on the phone.
Yes.
So this shouldn't be a goddamn surprise for her.
But this was more intimate because she knows that he will tell Johnny stuff.
Yeah.
That he wouldn't tell her.
And there are 2 points that I feel that Janet got that she should have never got. The point where he's talking to his brother and he's admitting all this shit. I hate that Janet was there to hear that. I hate that she got
her
that.
face when she's got that kind of like, oh, he still loves
exactly.
me.
I was like,
and it's like,
bitch.
you caused this, you fucking piece of shit. These two are at each other's throats because of you. This relationship was fractured because of you, and you're over here, kind of getting flutters in your fucking stomach because Tommy's admitting on a voicemail to his now dead baby brother that he still loved you. You sick bitch.
And that's the second point. Yeah, that's the second point. I hate that she got to hear it.
She's fucking venom. She's terrible. I just Now, anybody have any final thoughts on Johnny's death before we move on to the actual finale of the season?
Just really tragic.
Yeah.
I like Mayhem. I liked him when he was in Oz. I like the actor. I really liked him as Johnny in this. So for them to kill him off really does suck, and it's really just such a gut wrenching time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's already got kids, which they don't really talk about much, and I don't remember seeing the kids or the ex-wife at the funeral.
No.
Mm-mm.
What the fuck, man? Like, I get it. You just had a bad interaction, Marissa Tomei, but come on. You fucking kidding me? So the end of the season is Tommy and Sheila at this house that she shouldn't have bought for them. And they're sitting down to dinner, and she basically has to pull it out of him that he didn't put his papers in.
Mm-hmm.
And Alex said it earlier. As soon as he tells her, no, I didn't put him in, her demeanor 100%. It's the switch from happy to crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And she does it again to him. She drugs him, except for this time, she fucks up. And
she doesn't give him Viagra either. She just gives him the roofie.
She just drugs him, so he's just out of it. He's asleep, and she's pissed off, and she starts throwing stuff around and starts a goddamn fire of this brand new house.
Yep.
And being the dumb, kooky bitch she is, can't work a fire extinguisher.
Wait, how are you going to be married to a firefighter for as long as you are, have firefighters in your family for as long as they have been, and not know how to work a fucking fire extinguisher?
She couldn't break the plastic thing from the pin. And that's what it was. She wasn't strong enough.
She's a fucking idiot.
Yeah,
she deserves
I was blown away by that.
every bad thing that has happened to her and that I'm hoping will happen to her in the future. Fuck Sheila. Fucking Sheila, right? Fucking Sheila.
Fucking
to
Sheila.
add to that point, there's a point where she tries to wake up Tommy, the fire's spreading, and the bitch walks out of the building.
Leaves.
And goes
gets
to her
in
car.
And was basically about to commit murder. Like, she's like,
Yep.
fuck it. Like
I'm out.
Because Tommy's too big of a guy, and he's passed out on the couch.
Yeah, in the car, she's contemplating saying, just fuck it, call the cops. And
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, no, she does. She
does
call
dial 911.
Yeah.
Yeah, but here's the thing: she does
Reports of
not.
fire.
She does not call the fire department as the owner of that goddamn house.
No.
She calls the way that she makes that call is an anonymous person walking by,
Mhm.
and they leave it kind of open ended. Really, I mean, he wakes up and stumbles down, and they don't really
But
let
then
you
he
know.
collapses.
she goes back
He
in.
thinks that she's in the house because he can hear her screaming.
Yep,
So he
he
makes
tries
his
to
way
find
up the
her.
stairs to try to find her, which shows you that he's all fucked up in his head and he's still trying to
He's
save
fucking
her.
roofied, and he's only thinking about her safety. in a
And
house
he's a
that's
fireman,
ablaze.
and yeah, he's a fireman, and he's trying to save her, and he's out of it.
Oh,
And then she goes to go back in, but only to save her ass because she realized I was about to kill him.
Yep.
And I believe she collapses.
She next to him, yeah.
Yeah,
Or
next to
Brian,
him.
one of the two. And now the neighborhood, we're left with the neighborhood is out there watching this fire.
Yeah, the neighbors are watching.
One thing real quick we didn't talk about was Stackhouse.
Yeah.
Oh,
he is a firefighter that. Sorry, go ahead, Alex.
He's the firefighter that Proby saved. There wasn't. They were at the beginning of the episode. They were up in there talking, and they were going over it. And Gavin was like, "Yeah, how's the family?" And he's like, "Yeah, we grew up in Proby school together." So Gavin and him have this relationship with him and Jimmy. The three of them were all in Proby school together.
He's also another one that's got revenants. Like even to Tommy, Stack is a Stackhouse is a brick shit house. Like he does. Yeah. He's one of those firefighters. Yeah,
because even Lou goes, "Hey, how much you weigh?" He's like 320. He goes, 320 my ass. Like she's like, "You're built like a fucking shit house." Like
Yeah, like he's another one that maybe not as much as Tommy, but he's another one that's got clout for his. He's known.
He's known. Because he was always, and Tommy even tells him. They end up getting told his engine gets told that there's gas smell in the basement to get down there and check it out. So like, oh fuck it, all right. So they go down there, and then all of a sudden there's an explosion. Everybody is in another area, and Proby had just sat down, and he hears there's two guys strapped in the basement. He fucking just grabs all his shit. He grabs an extra tank, and he fucking heads straight to it. And he's the first one in there, and he can't get to him, so he fights his way in there. The hole is only big enough for him to get through. Everybody else is all bigger than Proby, so they can't get emitted.
You're muted.
He was smart enough to know they were on that other side of that wall, and he starts busting it out. Like that really is a badass scene for Proby.
Yeah,
and that's where we had said, or Giovanni had said earlier about how everybody was giving him his props for what he did. But in doing that, Proby saved him, but Stackhouse ends up kind of not doing in good shape. He ends up losing a leg. Then
both legs.
Then the next day they took his other leg. Yeah. And then when Tommy's there again to talk to the wife, she says now they want to take his hands.
Yep.
And he's like, you know what? Go home and be with the family.
And not only that, but Tommy's been having these moments with him where he's in the room and his eyes open and he looks right at Tommy and then goes back into lucidity. So, and
he's making noises and trying to say things to Tommy too.
And after he talks to the wife about the hands, it's a fucked up scene too, because Tommy goes in there and is basically like, you gotta let go. Like you can't do this to her and the kids, This isn't you. Like you gotta let it go. You gotta go.
Yeah.
He's like, do you wanna live your life with, being pushed around and being fed? He's like, do you want it to be like that? He's like, just let it go.
And I don't know how to gauge Tommy's reaction as Stackhouse does Code Blue, because that look he gives is a look of sadness mixed with like, you're a good man, you know what I mean, almost like fucking Stackhouse always doing the right thing. It's got that kind of like, even though he truly feels that Stackhouse heard him and is making the decision to go, and it's just one of those like, I mean, for one thing, for Tommy's character to be able to walk in there and tell this guy, just let it go, man, you need to die, is a fucking...
He also tells him, I will take care of the family for you. So I'll make sure that they're good. And that's another fucking burden that Tommy's taking on himself, which
we'll see how that plays out.
For good reasons, but it's like...
We'll see how that plays out.
Now that's something else that Tommy said,
Because you got to remember, Janet's pregnant. You think she's going to go solo?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for a while, when he was talking to Sheila about her 9/11 widowers money, it kind of seemed like maybe he was going to scheme to try and get some of that, or at least, somehow
ask to help on some way.
Ask to help. Right. Yeah.
And that was before she fucking went psycho and bought the first house that he liked.
Yeah.
Which I imagine if they stayed together, Sheila probably would have gave him money to help out whoever, whenever.
I'm going to put it this way. If Tommy would have fed into her shit and lived the life she wanted to live, he would be set. He'd be dealing with a crazy bitch, but he would be set. He'd have the money. He'd have the house. He'd have the wife. Will do anything he wants. That's the truth of it. Like,
your fingers smell like pussy. Oh, that's mine. Sorry. Like, it'd be one of those fucking psycho things.
Like that's the thing is like, but that's how Tommy wants Janet. And that's
Yeah.
the problem. That's the only thing Tommy wants. Tommy's dick may want other things. Tommy only wants Janet. And then you have the confrontation between Jimmy and Tommy before the house burns down. After he tells her, Jimmy's basically like, you got to do this. What are you doing? By the way, I played Max Payne 3. And we're watching this show, and in playing Max Payne 3, I realized in Max Payne 3, they actually did the real-life facial modeling for Jimmy. So if you play Max Payne 3, now, after watching this, you'll realize how much Max Payne in Max Payne 3 looks like Jimmy. And it's a whole new level of fucking awesome. I'm nerding out all over. The game's goddamn came out in, I think, 08, but I'm nerding out all over again for it. I don't care. It's so fucking cool. Because I was playing, I even told Jen, I was like, hey! She's like, what? And I was like, he actually looks like Jimmy in this one. She's like, all right, whatever, you fucking nerd. Anything else we missed?
No, I think we
Just
covered most of it.
With Keela and Alicia,
They have a little wig out moment.
So Franco goes to visit Keela at her, Park Avenue swanky living arrangements now with Alicia, and he has this very sweet interaction with his daughter where she's just very forgiving and understanding about the whole situation. And then he finds out that she's going off to school in Paris.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he's just like, well, when am I going to see you again? And it's just left with her, like, I'll be back, Daddy.
I'll do my best.
Yeah, I'll do my best.
Which is really sad, but I think the conversation that she gave to Franco was kind of what he needed to hear.
She was more of the adult in those couple months.
I will say the more and more Franco gets his shit together, though, the more and more I want Susan Sarandon in jail.
Yeah, no, I can't stand her character.
Like, there's a certain point where, like, you have no rights to her. He's got blood rights. You have nothing. And I hope at some point he does. I honestly don't remember. I hope at some point he gets her back. Because that whole, like, I mean, because I would argue that anything he's doing right now to get his shit together is to prove to himself that he can have a daughter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, I hope it does pan out at some point where he ends up getting her back. Or, maybe they kill off Susan Sarandon. I don't know. I don't give a fuck. Fuck her.
Well, that whole conversation Franco has with his girlfriend where he's like, I stopped taking the test because I was doing it for my daughter and now she's gone. And even his girlfriend is like, fucking man up.
Yeah.
You don't need sympathy. You don't need anybody feeling sorry for you. You need to fucking grow there. And he tells her, he's like, you should have took the test. You're smarter than me. Which actually, Richie's also smarter than him.
Yeah.
He memorized the fucking booklet.
Yeah.
Yeah, he read the book and then he remembered everything.
Yeah, I like
from
that
it.
line where he goes, I read it, and now I know it.
Yeah.
And he just looks at him like Franco's got that look like, how do you do that? Like, I wish I could do that.
Or when he tells him, he's like, we're both the same we're both almost the same. He's like, we're both smart in different ways or some shit like that.
Yeah, we're both smarter than we look.
We're both smarter than we look, yeah.
Yeah.
I wrote it down.
That was, I think, when Franco called him out on it. When he called him out on it, kind of driving the wedge, he's like, we're both smarter than we look.
And then at the end,
Weird eyebrows.
he gets some ice cream.
Yeah.
He's like, I wanted sprinkles. He's like, what the fuck? Somebody give my brother,
Give
ice
us
cream
some
over here."
sprinkles!
Yeah.
I do like that moment when they're at dinner. And he's like, my brother asked for sprinkles! And it is a nice... that is what makes me start to like Franco more and more. Is like, you can see the man trying. Like, he's trying more with Richie than I feel like he did his own daughter, though. Which is a little fucked up.
Yeah.
All right. All good?
Yeah.
All right, everybody.
So,
Thank you for watching another episode. We'll be back again and throughout the rest of the series. We'll see you in the next couple weeks. Have a wonderful day, night, whatever time you're watching this. I'm Matt.
I'm Jen.
I'm Japan.
I'm Alex.
Until next time. Bye.
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 Japan.